So good day everybody. Welcome to Al's Thought Corner. Today we're gonna talk about something important. So let's talk about my teaching philosophy presented by me, of course, Al Shawncey Sillacay. So my teaching philosophy is constructivism. But before we delve deeper about constructivism, let's talk about who developed constructivism. Okay, so as you can see here in the picture, he is Jean Piaget. He is a Swiss psychologist known for his work on child development. He proposed that learners construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiences and reflecting on those experiences. Okay, so next slide, we are gonna talk about the constructivism itself. So, first definition of constructivism is that constructivism is a theory where learners actively construct knowledge rather than just receive it. This means that in constructivism, students play an active role in learning. They don't just listen or absorb information from teachers. Instead, they build or they build their own understanding through experiences, problem solving, or interaction. It focuses on making meaning, not just on simply memorizing facts. And next, the second definition of constructivism is that learning happens through experience, reflection, and interaction with others and the environment. So like I said earlier, this it's quite different, but this means that learning is not just about reading or listening, but it's about being actively involved in experiences that help shape understanding. So when students engage in hands-on activities, reflect on what they've learned, and interact with others, they develop deeper and more meaningful knowledge. The environment and social interactions play a huge or big role as they allow learners to share ideas, solve problems together, and connect new lessons to real life situations. So the difference between the two definitions of constructivism, even though it may look the same. So the first definition explains the core idea of constructivism, that students actively build their own understanding rather than just receive information. It emphasizes the learner's role in creating meaning through experience, problem solving, and interaction. Meanwhile, the second definition of constructivism focuses more on how learning actually happens in practice. So through experiences, reflection, and or collaboration with others, it gives more detail on the process and highlights the importance of the environment and the social interaction in the deepening understanding. Okay, so now that we are done with the constructivism's definition, let's move on to its importance. So the importance of constructivism. First is that constructivism helps students learn by doing. So what this means is that students understand lessons better when they actively participate in the learning process instead of just listening to lectures or memorizing facts. In other words, they build knowledge through experience by exploring, experimenting, solving problems, or creating projects. So the next importance is that it makes them think critically. So students they don't just memorize answers. They somehow question or connect ideas or solve problems, which helps them develop critical thinking skills and understand concepts on a deeper level. Okay, so the last importance of constructivism is that it makes them understand lessons deeply. This helps students absorb lessons through experience, letting them connect new ideas with what they already know. So their understanding becomes clearer, stronger, and more lasting. So it also allows students to grasp lessons with real meaning, not just surface knowledge. Through hands-on experiences and reflection, they discover ideas for themselves. So that would be all for the importance of constructivism. So next, um, this how can I apply constructivism in a classroom manner? First is the science experiments. As a science major education student, I believe that constructivism in the classroom through science experiments is really good. Why? Because these activities give students the chance to actively participate in their own learning. So instead of simply listening to explanations or memorizing theories, students can observe real life results, ask questions, and form new or their own conclusions based on what they discover. So, this process allows them to connect new knowledge with their previous understanding, making learning more meaningful and memorable. Through experiments, students also develop critical thinking, problem solving, and collaboration skills, which are essential in both science and everyday life. So, next one is math problem solving. So, this allows students to actively build their understanding rather than simply memorizing steps or formulas. When students are given math problems to solve, especially those related to real life situations, they are somehow encouraged to think critically, explore different strategies, and justify their answers. For example, instead of just following a given formula, they can discover patterns, make predictions, and test their own ideas to find solutions. This process helps them see the logic and reasoning behind mathematical concepts. It also allows students to connect lessons to real life situations that make learning more meaningful. For example, again, instead of just teaching formulas for area and perimeter, I can let students measure the school garden to calculate how much space is needed for planting or fencing. When learning about percentages, they can compare discounts in a store or plan a class budget for an event. Through these hands-on activities, students learn to analyze, reason, and apply math in practical ways. So, the last application of constructivism to a classroom manner is through group projects. I really should apply this I really should apply constructivism in the classroom through group projects because it allows students to learn by working together and sharing ideas, making lessons more engaging and meaningful. So, for example, when assigning a project about building a simple business plan, students can collaborate to compute expenses, profits, and percentages, applying what they've learned in math to a real scenario. In science, they can design an experiment as a team where each member contributes ideas, gathers data, and analyzes results. During, let's say, social studies, they might create models or presentations that explain historical events or community issues. So, group projects let them experience how knowledge is built through teamwork, creativity, and shared discovery. Okay, so I have a somewhat quote here. Learning through constructivism is like building a world from your own understanding, made by me. Alright, so I believe that would be all for today, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.